How you doing, James?
Hey, Brian. How's it going?
Pretty good. How's everything going today?
Oh, so good. You're like, I got one more interview after you with Classic Rock Radio, and then I'm done for the day. I've done 12 today. I started at 11 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
So I'm just right now having a glass of wine as I speak to you.
Cool.
So I feel good about that.
You know. So tell me a little bit about Indestructible.
What would you like to know? Give me a question.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you read our review, which I posted yesterday.
Are you kidding? I got it up there with like a badge of honor.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
When I do a review, people think, you listen to a CD one time and it pops, the review pops out.
Right.
It don't work that way. I put the headphones on because that, I get the best sound from the headphones. Mm-hmm. And I lean back and I just listen. And then I play it again, I listen. And another time I listen. And, the choruses are amazing. The guitar work by Jimi Bell is totally off the hook, you know. Yeah. And the songwriting's phenomenal on this release. Not that past releases were, not up to par. They were all great. Mm-hmm. I just feel Indestructible is, above all the rest.
Well, I appreciate that, Brian. How do you know when you get it right, and how do you know what you can never tell until you've actually sat down and tried to put a whole record together. And sometimes the formula of all the songs you write are just right for that moment. And other times you might get half of it right and half of it okay, and that happens quite often. On this particular record, my decision was to bring Jimi out to the forefront, which, he's probably one of the best guitar players I've ever heard. Hands down.
Right.
So he really is featured as the guitar player, and we all just took a step and said, you know what, let's make this an aggressive record, something that, if we were to play it live, it would just floor people, rather than, having a token amount of mid-tempo, a token amount of ballads. We just wrote, and most of it ended up being high-energy songs.
Right. I was talking to Jimi yesterday and the day before, and he's so happy to be in House of Lords. I swear to God, you know, he's just amazed that he's part of this project and stuff like that. And he's so happy that you really let him kind of like take the reins on a lot of the guitar work and the lyrics and, the music and stuff like that. He's really appreciative, at least to me he is.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy's an outstanding player. I've never had to write songs so easily, because when I get a track or a musical idea, I almost hear the melody built into what he's playing. And I can't say that for a lot of other writers, where I have to kind of gauge what I'm going to do melodically or which way I'm going. I almost hear the melody. It's very weird.
Right.
So it makes it for great writing. Also, I don't think anymore about what does the melodic community want from us. That's why I call the record Indestructible. It's because, we've been together for 10 years as the same band. We've had to endure the criticism of it's not the old House of Lords. It's not really House of Lords because Greg Giuffria is not in it. So, I figured after 10 years and 6 records, I think we can say we're still here and we're still the same band with the same lineup.
Right.
Right. So, but with all of that, we had to endure. This record we just wrote from what we loved. No outside influences.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, what do you, people, almost everything I listen to and stuff like that, people say, it's melodic rock, it's hard rock and stuff. To me, music's music, but I definitely feel a little heaviness on this CD compared to Big Money and Precious Metal and stuff like that. Do you still consider it melodic rock?
Absolutely. The component that makes it heavier is the fact that Jimi has a knack for that darkness, ultra heavy bottom guitar playing, and what I do is I counteract that with a melodic melody. And you put the two together, and you still have melodic rock, just with a lot more kick-ass, it's not pussy. It's just really heavy duty. So I did a lot of interviews today with metal magazines, heavy metal magazines, and they dig it. It's different from what they review, but they absolutely really get it. So I think the combination is right. What do you call it? You call it heavy melodic rock metal. I don't know. Give it a label. Maybe it'll catch on.
Did you do anything different from Big Money Precious Metal to Indestructible?
Yeah, on Precious Metal, I brought in a different mixer. That was Bob Marlette, who was a great mixer, and the reason is I couldn't hear much of anything. My ears have been going steadily every year because of just the loud music.
Right.
I cannot hear things the way I used to. So having a mixer really makes a big difference. And on this record, I brought this guy Ty Sims in. And he seems to be pretty cool, He really captured what we wanted to sound like, which is in your face. I don't want any bullshit. I don't want any tricks. I just want it right in your face.
Right.
So that's basically what he did.
Right. I know, again, going back to Jimi Bell, when I was talking to him, he says he's really surprised that the heavy stuff that he submitted to you, you agreed with. Yeah.
Well, I do because... listen, I know I'm a Deep Purple fan as well as Jimi.
Right.
So when I hear a riff that is a classic riff like Smoke on the Water, I hear 100 Miles an Hour having those classic riffs. I hear Go to Hell having those classic riffs. Jimi has the capabilities of becoming a Ritchie Blackmore with the great songwriting ability of coming up with those classic riffs that every guitar player wants to learn, wants to pull out his guitar and learn the riff.
Right.
And I haven't had that, and I've worked with the best, Doug Aldrich, you name them, and Jimi just really shines.
Cool. Yeah. When you're doing deep songs and heavy songs and stuff like that, and then you pop in one of melodic and maybe a ballad and stuff like that. Yeah. Does it throw you off a little bit of the direction when you're doing such a heavy album?
Well, I think on this record, We Will Always Be One is pretty heavy. It's kind of leans more Def Leppard than and Eye of the Storm kind of can go Foreigner to anywhere in the middle there. So there's a fine line between what the album does. There's some elements of it that still cross into the melodic area, but it doesn't sound like two different bands. It just sounds like a lighter version of what you hear.
Right.
So sometimes that line is very hard to. I still love melodic rock music.
Right.
So if I hear a great ballad, I'm a sucker for it, man. I'm going to do it.
Right.
But if I hear Go to Hell and I hear the riffs on that song, I'm attracted to that too. So.
Cool. When Jimi Bell and BJ and Chris got together and started Maxx Explosion, did you give them your blessings or what's up?
Of course I did, because at this point in my career, Brian, I don't feel like I have anything to prove, and Chris is a young guy who wants to break into the music industry, and it's pretty much his baby. Maxx Explosion is his band, and I give him credit. The guy, he does so many things well. He does that. He plays bass. He does videos. He makes guitars. And so my hat's off to people that are that aggressive and I don't have that energy level anymore to want to do that many things. So.
Right.
I do support them 100%,
Cool. I think the dog's hungry.
My dog is barking because he's knocking at the door.
Is there any particular favorite between playing a club show? I know you guys do club shows and stuff like that, but then you do the bigger shows. Is there any difference really in between the audiences and the feeling of the band?
Well, the smaller shows give us the opportunity to be one-on-one with the people and really interact with them. I'm really good at that because I grew up in nightclubs. Right. I played fucking clubs 7 days a week for more years than I care to mention. So when I got to the big stage, that was a little offsetting for me because it happened so fast. I went from small stage right to 10,000 people, and I didn't get any gradual build up to the to where I was going. So the difference to me right now is that I've done both. I love them both. I think the big stage is wonderful, but she's really playing to the mass audience, and you don't really have a person that you've got your eyes on. You just have your eyes on the theater.
Right.
And when you're playing in a small club, you actually have eye contact with people, and they see it. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool both ways.
Right. Did Robin have her hands in any of the Indestructible music at all?
No, she didn't have her hands in the writing, but she's all over it and the background vocals. Because I would do nothing without her.
Right.
And it's so funny because I was reading an interview. Not an interview, but Andrew was commenting on something and he was saying, well, I hear Robin here and I hear Robin there. Well, yeah, no kidding, because that's, I'm going to use her as my high-end background vocal. She is the perfect person for it.
Right.
Why? It almost seemed like he thought it was a bad thing, and I thought, well, believe me, that's a tool, that's something I would never want to lose, her as my background vocalist.
Right. When you're doing shows like abroad and stuff like that, how nice is it to come home, to be at home?
Brian, I'm really a homebody, more than you can imagine. And Robin is the same way. When we go on the road sometimes, it gets a little depressing because if we're not together, then we're apart, and it's hard on the family life. But now Olivia's going to college, Penn State this year, and so it's me and her on our own, Right. But I love touring, but I really do love being at home working on music, working on anything that has to do with music. It makes me happy. Right.
Is it like, I know your daughter Olivia is going to college and stuff. Does she ever say, my friend wants an autograph or my friend wants something from you or whatever? Is that comfortable for you?
Yeah, but it's really mostly the parents. We got to get down to reality. And it's very funny because a lot of parents will invite us to dinner and then they'll pull out their albums.
Right.
And it gets very weird, because we think we're going for our child's, some school event or something, and they end up being either a Robin Beck fan or House of Lords fan. But that's okay.
Right. So. When you played, I think 2 Melodic Rocks, I think you played, and I guess that's the finale and no more. What's your feelings about that?
I only played one.
Okay.
I played not the last one, but the one before.
Right.
I'm sorry and I'm sad that they're not around. I personally thought that the last one that they didn't have enough bands that the U.S. market knew. They had enough bands that the European market knew.
Right.
But those two are two different animals.
Right.
The show that we did, the one you were at.
Right.
There was a lot of bands that everybody knew.
Right.
In the U.S. And that was a very successful show, and Andrew did great. And Andrew is he's a diehard melodic rock fan, and I'm sad that it didn't work out this time around, so.
Right.
We're going to be playing the M3 Festival next year.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's, do you ever go to those?
One of my riders goes every year.
You don't go to any of them?
I haven't been, but if you guys are going to go next year, I'll be there.
Okay, I'm getting you a ticket.
Okay, I'll be there.
Right, so then you come.
I'll be there, definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely. Okay, yeah. Indestructible comes out June 9th on Frontiers Records. When you're done with this, release and stuff, do you automatically start right away on the next one?
Yeah, we're going to.
Uh-huh. Wow.
But there's one. The only difference this time around is that I'm speaking to Serafino about finally doing an HOL DVD, starting from the very first album all the way up to Indestructible, and doing something from every cut, not every cut, but something from each album.
Right.
Doing it at a theater in Connecticut, and I'm going to have to bring in a couple of keyboard players and some background singers, which would be Robin, because on the earlier stuff, there's just too much of everything to really cut it live. Right. And I want the DVD to have everything on it, where we're not overdubbing it, but rather having it on a live stage.
Right.
So this is going to be a big project, and that will be the next thing that comes out.
Cool. Yeah. Now, Indestructible, naturally, I got a 5 out of 5 on our site, Rockeyez and stuff.
First time.
What more can you do?
I know. I don't know. The thing is, I can't even think about it right now, about what more I can do. I don't know. When I heard Go to Hell, I stepped away from it and I said, you know what? That fucking chorus takes off like a helium balloon.
Yeah.
I mean, I never felt anything lift so much, and I didn't know what made it do that. It's just the way the chord structures worked. And I said to myself, how do we reproduce that? I don't know how to do that. It just happens. So, you get lucky sometimes, is all you can say. I
mean, between the background vocals, the harmonies, and the choruses, you can't ask for more on that.
Nope. I'm with you, and I'm thank you so much for a 5 out of 5. And I think it's the first time we've ever gotten that from you. And if it had to be the last album I did, it'd be what a way to go out, right?
Oh yes, definitely. James Christian, Indestructible, June 9th, Frontiers Records. You have anything to say to the fans out there?
Just keep an eye out for us, because we're going to be playing in the States starting in September. End of October. End of August. And we're finishing up on September 17th at the Whiskey. You can go to the Whiskey A Go Go website, and you'll have the exact information of the exact date. So if there's anybody out there from LA, that's where we're going to be ending up the tour.
Great. James, it's always good talking to you, and I appreciate your friendship.
Thank you, Brian. Me too.
Talk to you later, man.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.